All right, I'd like to welcome in a special guest to the show. He was a consensus All-American, led the nation in interceptions, first team All-Pac-12, Jim Thorpe Award finalist, two-time Pac-12 championship at the University of Oregon. It's V3, the general, Verone McKinley III. What's going on, Verone?
What's going on?
Not much, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know your schedule is very busy, and that's what I want to start with. What is this process like right now? What is your training process? If you can kind of take me through kind of what you're going through right now.
Of course, getting ready for the combine and things like that. PT, lifting, speed work, agility work, DB work. So it's a consistent thing every day.
Is there something different? Obviously, you've been doing DB drills for a long time and those kind of things. Is there something different as you prepare for the combine these few months here since season's ended?
Definitely a little different kind of than college when you're lifting and just, trying to be strong, get you ready for the season. It's different because you're trying to, get ready for an interview, basically, an interview for testing on and off the field. And so that's what's kind of the biggest part. You're testing for specific drills and how to make sure you master those drills.
What is your what's your daily routine been like? Or weekly? How often are you working out? What do you and where are you training from? And then when did you kind of get going? How soon did you start this after season ended?
So I'm in Dallas actually. I'm at Exos in Dallas. Weekly, it's Monday through Saturday, and it's work don't stop. Monday through Friday is Mondays we have lift and speed work, and I'll have my PT sessions. PT sessions are every day. I do that about twice a day, different things, hamstrings, hips, grips, all types of things. But that's pretty much consistent every single day. And then we'll have speed work Tuesday through Thursday. Not speed work, but position work Tuesday through Thursday. And I mean, it's nonstop, honestly. It's like a 9 to 5, truly.
Are you enjoying this? And it's certainly just such a different chapter in your football career, the steps you progress through. And I want to definitely get into that. But are you enjoying kind of what this is right now as you kind of lead into this thing?
I am enjoying it. I'm all about the work and I always want to get better. And so doing this at this time, it's a big time in my life. And I feel like I made the right decision, and getting better and seeing the progress as you continuously go throughout the weeks is something I enjoy to see all the time. So
Let's go back a little bit, just playing for Mario Cristobal. You spent 4 years at Oregon there, and I kind of remember a little bit about your recruitment, just kind of how that went. But just playing for Coach Cristobal, what's kind of your takeaways for that? Maybe also takeaways, but also maybe some priorities or points of emphasis for Coach Cristobal.
Coach Cristobal, somebody whose vision I trusted when I signed the dotted line and decided to come to Oregon. Somebody that wants to win and cares about his players more than anything. He's truly been there for everything. He's there every step of the way. You can always talk to him about anything. His door is always open, and somebody that you can access at all times. But he cares. He cares a lot. And I've never seen somebody who truly loves football just as much as me. There's not too many people I would feel like love football more than me. But Coach Cristobal kind of pushes that needle because he cares about us so much, and he'll really do anything for any of his players, no matter who you are, walk on, scholarship or not. So somebody that's 100% invested in making the program, the culture, all of that better.
Do you have an example of that, Verone? And look, anyone that's been around him, I remember when he coached at Miami as a young assistant years ago. Is there an example of that, Verone, in terms of how much he cares for players or even for yourself? Was there something that stands out to you of like, okay, this guy definitely does? Because you've been around a lot of coaches are different, and obviously that's why they're in it. But was there something different that stands out to you with him?
Just the talks we had, I feel like we got a lot closer from 2020 through this year. We have always talked, but towards 2019 through 2021 this year, we got really close and just continuously talking to him. And he's always asking questions to players. What can we do better? Is there something you need? He's always there to have the interaction, whether it's after practice, before practice starts, checking in on guys, just seeing how you're doing. He'll text you. It may be late at night. He'll text you, just checking in on you, how you're doing. If you're hurt, even if you're healthy, just always wanting to check on people's mentals and things like that. So somebody that's truly invested in making sure we're good mentally, because that's a big thing. And it's not just about football with him. And I think that's what really always resonated and stood out to me.
You guys had a lot of success there. Like I said, I touched on the two Pac-12 championships. Obviously, you guys played for another one there. Incredible run. Was there something, I'm curious about this because you said it goes to you guys. Was there something like either he was doing with the team? Was there anything that you guys presented like, hey, maybe if we do something a little bit different, and he adapted to a change, either small or big, or maybe just something that changed throughout your time there that maybe improved things a little bit as a program at all?
So 2018 was the year, you get acclimated, new staff, not really just new, but Coach Cristobal is our head coach now. And it's like, okay, everybody's almost feeling each other out, and you can see, okay, we could be really good. So going into 2019, we even lifted the culture even more. So workouts were even more detailed and harder. And guys were, especially because we had a lot of older guys with Herbert coming back. We had Shane Lemieux, Calvin Throckmorton. We had this veteran O-line, veteran defense with Troy Dye. So just uplifting everything. We wanted to make sure that we were right on everything and almost try to be perfect at everything because we knew how good we could be, and we knew we had a shot at getting to these championships, the Pac-12 championship, trying to get into the playoffs. So every year it was always continuously realizing we can keep getting better, and we trusted all of our coaches. We had coaches come and go because whenever you have a good team, of course, coaches are going to leave, coaches are going to get other opportunities. But we understood that Coach Cristobal is still here, and we trust his vision. So whoever he brings in here, we know that he's going to bring people in here that are going to help us continue to be great. And so that trust factor and being able for guys to trust one another from going through those workouts at 6:00 in the morning and knowing that the guy next to you is going to know exactly what his job is, because if he does it, he's not going to be playing. But if you know your job, of course, you can trust somebody. When you can trust somebody, that leads to huge things. And that was probably the biggest part of it.
What was that vision like for Verone 2018? You get there obviously, but coaches there, the vision for, having success, winning big time things like you guys were able to do. What was essentially set in stone early on, those early days when he came over, and maybe even heard from some of your teammates of like, this is a little bit different, and not really, I don't want to get too much into comparing coaches, but just what was kind of done early on of setting the tone, setting the culture.
We're going to work harder than anybody in the country. We're going to work hard. And that was kind of one of the things that stood out automatically, especially me coming in straight from high school. I came in early, so we hit the ground running. There was no time to wait. And we didn't want to be behind the eight ball. We wanted to kind of be ahead of things, always try to be the innovators, try to be a step ahead of our competition. And so that applied in our workouts, that applied in school, everything applied to certain things. And so when we first started out, it was about establishing our identity. Like, who do you want to be as a football team? Who do y'all want to be as people when y'all are not at this facility? Who do y'all want to be? And that was the biggest thing. So 2018 was establishing that. So when we go and win big games like the Washington game and win in overtime, this is who we are. We play 4 quarters. The fourth quarter mentality was huge. We play 4 quarters, and if we need to play 5, we'll play 5. Coach Cristobal said that all the time. However long it takes for us to be 1-0, and that's been the motto. Some people say it's cliche, but that's just how it was for us, and we truly felt that and meant that. And so that's how we did our workouts. That's how it was in school. That's how it was in meetings. Everything we had was to be applied to every single aspect of our life.
Competitive culture that was established. I've kind of heard different things, obviously. Just what does that mean to you? What were some examples of the competitive culture that you guys were able to establish within the program, whether it was practices off the field, whatever it might be, which ultimately I would assume, helps you lead to success on Saturdays there?
We're very competitive in practice because we have so many team periods. We have one-on-one periods, half line pass. So different things we have to compete against one another because, for one, you want that competition. You want guys competing in their rooms, of course, within their position rooms, and guys competing across the ball. But then also it allows for us to continuously get better because we do have so many good players. So going back and forth with these guys just helps people get better. And that establishes our competitive energy. And so practice is always high energy, big competition, of course, guys jawing back and forth. And I think, especially this year, it was one of the most competitive times I've ever seen Oregon because we had every day, like one-on-ones every day was like a show. Like somebody is trying to dominate the guy next to him, in front of him. And that's how it's always been like that. But just especially this year, it was really, really, really harped on, especially just to continuously make guys better. We want to jaw back and forth. We want to get in front of somebody's face, like go again, we're going to go again and keep getting better. And so that energy is it's been throughout his whole time there.
And I assume, learning about you as a player and kind of, watching some of the interviews, and shout out to your podcast that you were doing there. Uh, this seems to fall in line for you. Competitive guy. You were not a highly regarded recruit coming out of Texas. I know you had offers, but not a highly regarded guy to where you ended up being. How much did you enjoy all of this, the competitive side, and how much did that kind of aid in your development as a player, your 4 years at Oregon there?
For me, I love it. I love when it's like you got to go out there and prove yourself time and time again. And for me, I started off at corner. We had two guys between Yamador and Thomas that were kind of already established. Vaughn was playing early. There was Ugo, who's kind of our leader of the room, who's now with Seattle. And so I knew you got to compete every day because you're still trying to take these guys' jobs, of course, but you want to compete every day because it makes them better as well. It's not like you're just trying to take their job, but you trying to take their job, they know that they have to come to practice every day to work. And that just makes you keep getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. So when my time came, I was always ready to be at whatever spot I needed to be. I knew the whole defense always. So if I need to play nickel, corner, whatever it was fine. And so when Ugo left, I got moved into the nickel spot. And then later on, I guess they basically switched me and Vaughn. And so, but that allowed for me to really embrace everything. And then of course having what's it called? Having different DCs has allowed for me to really take on that. I got to prove myself every time, no matter what it is, because having different DCs, people like different things. People have different terminology. You got to maybe learn a new defense. It's always allowed for me to have to reprove myself. And I enjoy that feeling. I enjoy having to step up to the challenge, no matter if that's a game, a test, anything. And so that's what allowed for me to kind of have that competitive spirit. And just being from Texas, not too many guys from Texas are really at Oregon. I always had that chip on my shoulder I got to put on for my state.
Yeah, and you know what you touched on, having to prove yourself, and that's obviously going to be a key right now as you move, this next chapter, looking to prove yourself. Position flexibility for you, I'm sure, just the ability to play these different spots that you did there in the secondary, and whether it's corner, safety, that nickel spot. Are you getting, feedback, NFL feedback, that that's going to help you moving forward, whatever team you go to, wherever they see you fit? And also too, Verone, if you could touch on how that flexibility came about for you to excel no matter where you were.
So of course, the feedback of me being versatile, it does nothing but help me because I'm able to play different spots, and different football is football, but everybody has different schemes. Everybody likes different things as GMs and coordinators and position coaches. So being able to be smart and have the versatility to cover different types of people, play man, play zone, blitz, do everything, just helps my value. And then what was the second question again?
Yeah, well, just kind of where it came from,
Okay.
and essentially, what did you do to made you excel at those? How did you become good at each, no matter where they put you, you could excel in, yeah, and also the origins of that, Verone, where you got started playing these different spots. What
I would say my dad always taught me to know what everybody's doing, because if you know where your help is, that can only help you make plays. And so from there, I've always trained as a corner, but it's allowed me to just be a DB. So I move like a corner who's a faster twitcher, whatever you want to call it, type of guy, but I'm able to play everything. So whenever I moved inside, it was not a hard transition for me, because I have the ability to combine my skill set along with understanding scheme and concepts and things like that and put them together. And that's what allows for me to make so many plays. Of course, yes, I'm athletic. I can do a lot of different things that helps me out as well when I'm in certain situations. But those two things combining allow for me to have that versatility, and training with Clay Mack and having my dad, and then just being around so many different types of DBs within my time has allowed for me to have that versatility and be able to play in different spots. So that's where that kind of came from.
in your film study, touch on that a little bit too, because look, all players are obviously required to watch film. Were there things you were doing differently with the way you watch film, the amount you were doing? It seems like you really take to that part of the game. And I'm sure that kind of attributed, you touched on the physical tools you have, but knowing where some opportunities might be with ball, getting your hands on the ball and things like that. Just film study for you, what were you kind of doing differently?
I break it down. So depending on who we're playing that week, everybody has certain things that they want to do. So for me, of course, I don't normally start with the receivers. I want to start with the quarterback. How does he like to go through his reads? Where does he like to throw the ball to the most side of? Things like that. And then we'll move to the receivers, the different types of receivers. A lot of guys are different. People will play with 3 to 4, 5 receivers. And so certain teams just have like outsides. They don't come inside, but I still want to know that because I am in zone, whatever it is. But then also understand the insides when I have to cover the slot receivers or the tight ends. So I group them together. And then with the linemen, because of run fits, let's see who has a heavy hand, light hand. Let's see who gives away if they're going to be pulling or not. Things like that also allow for me to continuously have a step and advantage on whoever we're playing. And then, of course, you want to go through down and distance. What do they like to do if it's 1st and 10? What do they like to do if it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 3? Things like that, where they're at on the field. All of that goes into how I kind of dissect everything going into a game.
What was, and I know I kind of saw, coming into the season, high goals for yourself, for the team. You wanted to win a national title. I saw you wanted to be an All-American, or those kind of things, be at the top. You're able to do that. And I thought that was very interesting for you to set that goal so high. Good player, you probably agree, but obviously it wasn't automatic that you were automatically going to be an All-American based on the season you had before. How gratifying was that? And what were some keys that this was the year that you could have one of these big individual seasons? Obviously your team won a lot of games too.
The thing was, I knew that I was going to keep getting better. And so once I had that first year in 2019, I was freshman All-American, tied for leading in the picks in the Pac-12. So I knew, okay, this was a good stepping stone, but this is just the beginning. And so I've always been taught to stay humble and stay hungry. And that's kind of the motto and what I've taken ever since my parents first told me that. And so I took that into going into 2020. Another good year, cleaned some things up I knew I could get better at. Boom, did that. So basically my first year was about kind of learning and understanding playing safety because I've never really done it before, but I've been a DB. So it was like learning that. The second year was truly being able to, okay, I established myself that I'm good at this. I can really do this. And then the next year was about dominating it, being the very best at it, no matter what it was. And so going into this year, I didn't care about the accolades. I wanted to win as a team, and I wanted to gain respect as a team and gain respect as a player. Because I felt like, sometimes being on the West Coast and us being a good team and playing a little bit later, not everybody sees that. And so I knew, of course, we had the Ohio State game. That was going to be one of the games of the year. So even especially like the first game, it was like, okay, boom, this is the first game out. We need to make sure we're playing clean football, clean in the stance every time, doing all the little details right. Going to that second week, I knew exactly what time it was. I was like, this is the games. These are games I live for. It's why you come to Oregon, literally. And so going into that week, I was like, I'm going to send a message. That was the biggest thing, was send a message. And that's what really just propelled it. And then throughout the rest of the year, I was like, this is really what I do. I feel like that's where the general started to blow up, Verone McKinley III, and that all came a part of it. But the biggest thing for me was to earn my respect and show that I can literally do every single thing you want out of a football player. And so that's kind of how that is. And that's just going to show you my competitive spirit. I'm very competitive. And it's just kind of how I was raised. So
yeah, you made a number of big plays at Oregon throughout your career, 11 picks. Do you have a favorite that stands out? For me, big fan of that UCLA fumble recovery. Everybody check that out if you haven't seen that. I thought that was a cool play. But was there one play that stands out to you now that you look back on your career that really stands out to you?
That Ohio State one's forever gonna be my favorite. It's the game I had already, the situation, that's forever gonna be the one that's probably number one for me, because we had been through a lot. And the thing was, I think the play before, it was a tip ball and I missed it and I couldn't get it. And I was kind of like, man, I was like, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. Stay patient. And then that play happens. So and just the game, we didn't have KT, no flow. It was like somebody needed to step up and really establish themselves as this is Oregon football. We're not afraid of anybody, and we're one of the best teams in the country. And I feel like I put that on full display. So that interception is going to be the biggest one for me.
Yeah, for people that didn't see it, it's still the game. You guys are holding the lead. Late in the game, you get that pick to seal it, essentially. So, yeah, obviously, big play. I figured you might go there. Again, you talk a lot about team success, so I thought you'd go there. Hey, what was Aaron Feld like as a strength coach? What can you say? How much did he help you? What's kind of his big motivating things that he likes to do?
Why would I would tell Coach Feld sometimes he's crazy. I just remember being a young freshman coming in, and the way he was yelling at us, I was just like, oh man, what am I about to get into? But another person who you can really have real conversation with him outside of just working out and lifting, and somebody that understands things way beyond just lifting a weight. And I think that's something that makes Coach Feld special. And I think that he truly does care a lot about us and wants to do everything in his power that's best for the players and working alongside with Coach Cristobal. But somebody who's helped me continuously develop as a football player and off the field with my mindset. And those are two probably the biggest things where Coach Feld helped me a lot, and just taking those things and being able to apply them. So he's somebody that's going to give you everything he has, and he's going to be there for whoever it is, whatever they need. And anytime you just need to pull him aside and talk to him, he'll do that. Just somebody who truly cares.
Verone, as I said at the beginning, your time is valuable. I appreciate you taking the time. It was great kind of going through your journey. I think anybody watching this, me personally, I'm excited to see what's next for you as you continue your football journey, man. But I definitely appreciate your time, and take care.
No doubt. Appreciate it.